joke of, we'll do it live is done on like 10% of my podcasts, which is kind of funny. It's just how,
Fuck it, we'll do it
over
live.
do it live. Yeah. So,
Was Bill O'Reilly? Yeah, it was Bill O'Reilly.
yeah, back when he kind of had some hair,
I'm losing my hair too, man.
that's fine. You got plenty. But
It's going.
yeah,
It's on its way.
still got all mine. I um probably will continue to have mine for a while. My
I
grandpa
decided
still
to
has
shave
his.
my face. This is the first time. Well, this is the third day now, but
Mm-hmm.
the first time I've shaved my face in like 15 years.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
15. You just been always like a crusty beard person.
Usually it's a pretty normal beard. I've gotten crusty. Oh, if I don't
Mm-hmm.
shave it every other day or whatever, but I try to keep it pretty trim.
Mm-hmm.
But I cut it all off, and I still look old, but I look younger.
Yeah, that's one of those things that like a lot of people, um, I think struggle to figure out is their exact like setup that they want to stick with. I don't shave anymore. I just buzz it really short, and then every couple days, it's like the day after I buzz is like perfect, and then this is like the
Yeah,
second day after, which is like And
stubble's like
some
mostly acceptable now. So
yeah, and especially if you don't have an office job like I don't, I do whatever I want, and all that happens is people just say, "Ew, you look gross," and then I yell at them. Um, ooh, Mikhail Liev says, "Yo," in the chat. Hey, sup one time.
I need to get in
One,
this chat. Is this on YouTube or Odyssey?
um, that one's YouTube. One time is on Odyssey because one time is a G.
Do, do,
Not
do,
saying
do,
this
do,
Mikhail guy
do.
is not a G, but he's
Mine's gonna
cool. Oh,
automatically forward me.
Hilawi. Hilawi says, "Hey, gentlemen, Spencer's gonna get carded now."
I
Probably.
doubt that, but
Yeah. It was
not
funny.
dash.
It was like one day I was doing jujitsu right after I shaved, and this one dude I was doing it with, he's like 24, 25, and he thought I was like in my 20s, and he's like, "No way, dude, you're 10 years older than me," and I'm like, "Dude, thanks for hitting me."
So
Like,
I
hit
think
me
it's
right in the
because
heart.
I live in a small town and like I know everybody. But the other
Mm-hmm.
day I went to the liquor store with somebody else, and I was like, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
get my card out. That way, when they don't ask me for the card, I don't get offended. And I went to like put it down because, of course, he asked her for her ID,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was like, going to put mine down, and like I didn't even get it there, and he goes, "I know you're old enough," and I was like, "You're not supposed to say that, bro."
Yeah. Every time people card me, I always just say, "Oh, that's the nicest thing someone said to me all day." And if you look, you can't really see on the stream, but if you look closely, I got a few grays here, which probably could be indicative of that stuff. But we probably been chit chatting long enough. There's enough people in live chat that are going to be angry at us if we don't talk crypto things and gray hairs and stuff, or not crypto things. But anyway, um, yeah, let's get this thing going. Let me hit the intro, and yeah. So, hey everyone, happy Friday, happy Black Friday. First topic on the thing, which, of course, is kind of funny. I'm joined by the one and only fantastic Spencer Kuzara, aka Kodax, aka the man with a fresh new lease on life with that freshly shaved face. How's it going, kid?
I'm digging it. Keep it up with the kid stuff. I feel it.
Yeah. Well, despite it's like one of those, oh, I feel great. I'm only like 28 and I've been in crypto or whatever. And it's like the old man with like the beard and all that. And
Yeah. I
I don't
had
know.
gray in my beard. That's partially why I cut it off.
Yeah, it does show up there first. But one time says, I'm never going to grow up. All right. Well, before we actually start talking about crypto stuff, happy Friday. Remember, cointr.ee/the desert lakes. Throw me some coin and I will answer your stuff. Otherwise, you just listen to us ramble. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow. I do want to mention, in case people haven't been noticing, uh, this channel, not only Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Odysee, all that stuff, But I also have an Instagram, which almost always posts the reels, and I have a TikTok. And I just upload something like 30 minutes before this live show about how to save money shopping on holiday stuff. Obviously using Dash Direct, but you'll see it. I'm just trying to break into that stuff, and it's funny because I find quite a few people younger than me, they're not on TikTok and stuff, and look at me weird, like, okay, boomer, why you're on that thing. So it's kind of funny. Anyway, now we got that out of the control, or that out of the way. Um, Crypto Black Friday, Bitcoin Black Friday. Uh, why do you think the markets tend to tank on Black Friday? And at least in the crypto world, every year it seems like. Why do you think that
Yeah.
happens? Your personal opinion.
Well, we had this conversation a little bit before, before cameras were rolling, but
Yeah.
I think Christmas money, you know what I mean? Or going on vacation. A lot of people like, I'm a school teacher, so you guys
Mm-hmm.
know, you know that. So, like I go on break. I'm on break right now. So since I'm on break, I know my students are on break, and I know that lots of them don't live here. So
Mm-hmm.
travel home for Thanksgiving, travel back. People, turkey prices, chicken prices went up,
Mm-hmm.
so they might just go, "Hey, I gotta cash out a little bit of this crypto." I know for a fact, somebody I work with, he just bought a 3D printer, and he told me, "Yeah, I had to cash out some of my crypto to buy this 3D printer." So it's just things like that. I think people just spend money this time of year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be nice if people spent it directly in crypto, which you can, but it tends
Yeah,
to always
especially
hit
in
like,
Dash.
yeah. What's funny is Black Friday is towards the end of November, and it's always like a dip, but towards the end of the year is when you actually see like peak markets, right? And so it's kind of funny how that works, where it's like the big dump, but then it bounces right back, and then it goes even higher, and then dumps again. And then
Yeah.
we're looking forward to a nice, happy, fun bear market in the coming months. Hopefully we have another couple months. But that's another thing is, uh, I wonder. I guess it just must be that the crypto markets are pretty U.S. centric still, or at least there's enough U.S. centric elements to affect the rest of the market because Black Friday's not really an international thing too much, and then
Is it
there's
not?
also I don't think so.
I
So
mean, it shows how much I know. I really don't, but I'm curious.
yeah,
I'm curious if it is practiced elsewhere. Like, do they have Black Friday in Europe?
not really as far as I'm aware. So the one element that is kind of global is the end of the year, Christmas, New Year's is a holiday time and people spend money whether it's on gifts, explicitly get Christmas or other type gifts, or they're spending money on like New Year's celebration stuff. So there's that.
Sure.
Black
Sure.
Friday is a concept, the Friday after Thanksgiving, which is what makes it Black Friday, which Thanksgiving is an American holiday. Don't at me, Canadians. Canadians have their own, but who cares about that? That's what it's tied to, and the reason it's called Black Friday is because black refers to a profitability of a business where you have like major retailers that are in the red the entire year, but hopefully if they have a big sales weekend on Black Friday, they get back in the black. And that's kind of where the whole sales holiday got manufactured around that, was to basically create a lot of revenue for retailers.
Sure.
So
Get them back in the black. That makes sense.
yeah, and so it's kind of an artificial thing, but again, it hits the whole market. Now the other thing is
So it's Halloween.
there's another dump that happens towards the end of the year, beginning of I don't exactly remember the exact time, but for basically it's related to people filing for taxes in April, where they want to make sure that they lock in profits or losses or whatever
Yeah,
for those
that
purposes. So
reminds
there's
me.
that have oh, I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
um
reminds me. I got some taxes to do.
um talk about that. Yeah. So Sam's trash dump on the live chat. I'm only giving him shine for free because we're actually talking about that next. He says, asked if we're familiar with rotting currencies. He says it's like a currency that has a time decay similar to options contracts. I think CBDCs will be rotting currencies. Well,
So that's interesting concept because I've never really heard of that before. But by time decay, does he mean like like for example, if they could magically make dollar bills under your mattress burn up if they weren't spent?
Yeah,
Like, is that what he's talking about, or is he talking about
possibly.
like losing value over time because that's inflation, right? That already
There,
happens.
it's funny because it's kind of the same thing if you think about it. Real quick on the conceptual part of the actual removal of tokens, I think it would be cool to have some sort of a if you have a some sort of a DAO type system that's not it. Let's just say you have like a community thing where you by being a member you pay in and you get issued governance tokens, and every time you vote or whatever you use them, and they kind of they have every cycle. Like your supply goes down, and so therefore, if you're like, it kind of has a as a decaying seniority element to the recency kind of thing as well. But that could be a very long discussion. Let's hit on CBDCs, or
Okay.
as they're well known, central bank digital currencies. So first off, just in just no particular order because these articles I kind of just threw them all over the place. But Tanzania is reportedly makes plans to launch a CBDC. Of
All right. It
course,
wouldn't be the first, right?
yeah, Nigeria announced that as well, and uh, the new German coalition government was talking about.
Hasn't even China's even talked about a CBDC, right?
Yeah, I mean, aren't they there yet? It's hard to tell because a lot of this stuff like kind of goes out with a whimper. Like I haven't even kept up with Venezuela's petro. I mean, remember they had one, and then I don't know if
Right.
people use it.
But I mean that's the same for Tanzania, right? All they've done is announced plans, right? They haven't done
Hmm.
anything.
Yeah. Do you really think these CBDCs are going anywhere? Because first off, the difference between a CBDC and a stablecoin is what?
Well, the difference between a CBDC and a stablecoin is CBDC is issued and controlled by central banks, and a stablecoin is issued and controlled, from a regulatory standpoint, from
Mm-hmm.
could be, any organization, I suppose. It's private
Mm-hmm.
in that way. It's not issued and controlled by, the government like central bank digital currencies would be. Um,
Although, what
which is,
happens if a central bank issues a stablecoin?
I mean, that's
Is that a
essentially what they're going to do,
yeah,
right? I think
yeah?
that's what it means. It's just the issuer that changes between stablecoin and CBDC, as far as I understand it. Anyway, it's basically the government saying, uh, "Oh, you can't do that, but we can."
Yeah, and then think about this. What happens if, let's just say, the US dollar is sunset and then they come up with a CBDC? Are there still going to be stable coins? Like, are there going to be other coins pegged to the value of the CBDC? Uh,
Yeah,
Probably yes,
could
in
be.
certain cases.
And that was kind of like Facebook's original idea behind Diem, right? Was like to have
Mm-hmm.
a basket of different currencies backing this one currency, and so the value of
Mm-hmm.
those combined would be the value of Diem, or as it was
Mm-hmm.
called then,
Libra.
Libra. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's essentially an idea. The U.S. government will never have it because they can't see past their own nose, and
Mm-hmm.
they a lot of it has to do with the power that the U.S. dollar um, elicits, across the world, not only as across the United States as a country, but all around the world. They can use the dollar and its power to kind of um, influence things politically, and losing that is a big deal for the United States.
Yeah. The thing that I think is funny, um, stablecoins are an interesting concept in general because I never really wrapped my head around them until recently. I just knew there was this thing called Tether way back when. I'm like, why is there this one random crypto that's like pegged to the dollar? Like, what does that do? And then Tether became one of the biggest things in crypto because it's used everywhere to swap and stuff. And then governments really don't like stablecoins. Or, oh, got to crack down on stablecoin issuers and things like that because that's what people use to like extract value from their crypto stuff, because it's not like a lot of people that you make bunch of money in Bitcoin, you're not really going to spend the Bitcoin directly unless you're a crazy person like me. But it's just how you kind of get it back out and manage to, you know, basically trade back and forth against that. And that's what the government really doesn't like. It's not so much, oh, you to get rid of your dollars, you have crypto, and you use crypto, and the value goes up, it goes down, whatever, you use it. No, it's like they don't like you swapping from their shitcoin to your better coin back and
They don't
forth.
like competition, is what it is.
Yeah. And one thing I think is interesting, and I don't really give a crap about the headline right now, but like about CBDCs. So think about the way stable coins have to work today. Like how do for like let's just so many of them, how do they actually derive their value? So in the case of Tether, and Tether's very controversial because there's a lot of evidence that shows that they might not actually have the money behind it. But in the case of Tether, they have bank accounts that are supposed to have reserves of the stablecoin in them. As in, it's supposed to be like a 1-for-1, and it's not, and it's a big mess. And I don't know why anyone touches Tether. But beyond that,
I don't either.
And then they're talking about audits and stuff. But it's a poverty of the technology that they have to have bank accounts as company, and then they issue tokens and say, "Oh, you have it in the bank account." But imagine a future where you have a CBDC, which I don't think anyone should use anyway. But let's just say you have a CBDC. You know how easy it would be to have a let's just say you want to trade on something like Pancake Swap or like Uniswap or something, and you basically all you have to do is wrap the CBDC, like BUSD, right? Binance's USD token that's like traded on like all kinds of stuff. All you'd have to do for that is just lock up some CBDC tokens and just wrap them in a Binance equivalent token, and it's very transparent. I'm talking about like making fiat better, which is making me feel a little like gross, like I need a shower. But
no, I know exactly what you mean though, and that's
yeah.
kind of like I've said this before because people in the beginning when they first started talking about CBDCs were like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And I was like, I don't think it's all that bad necessarily because it puts government issued fiat currency in and crypto. They're now accessible between each other. Like somebody will make a way to swap them, and it's like it's rather than having to go to my bank and deposit money and then connect my bank to an exchange and make a transfer from the bank to the exchange and then trade, and then to cash out, it's the reverse of that. And it's a pain in the ass. If the money is already digital, it makes it a lot easier to do what I want to do with it.
Yeah.
Even if that includes trading it out.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting to see the way this whole thing is shaping up because, it's the old fiat technology is just kind of being left behind because what you can do with money is being advanced all the time. And it's not even, obviously the money itself is being advanced, but what you can do with it as far as, you just take a stable coin and then wrap it with something, loan it out here, provide liquidity there, stake it there, just do a million things with it. It's pretty crazy. And there's like permissionlessness of it. Now, what I wonder from an architectural standpoint is how will CBDCs actually work as far as transactions and stuff. So will you just be able to kind of do what you want with them, kind of like crypto, except they're going to be traced to your identity and so it's basically like they basically let you send it anywhere except they know who's behind it, or
probably
there'll
probably be other restrictions on it. Like if you think about this, debit cards already have like merchants already have categories, right? So like, have you ever pulled up you don't have a bank, so what the fuck am I asking you for? But
I have as of like 5 years ago or more. I have had it. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you pull up in your bank and it can tell you that like this is a gas station, this is a restaurant, this is a whatever. Like merchants have categories, right? And these are legally defined categories. This isn't just something that Visa decided
Mm-hmm.
to categorize this restaurant as and tell you what it is for your convenience, it's a legal category. And for example, I was trying to use my Coinbase card
Mm-hmm.
the other day on some internet site, and I'm not going to divulge what it is necessarily, but it told me that I couldn't use the card because Coinbase doesn't allow transactions with this merchant category.
Wow. Which category was that
And
again?
I can't tell you.
Hey.
But
Oh,
I'll tell you that it's perfectly legal, especially
yeah.
where I live. So
Yeah.
it shouldn't have been a problem. But Coinbase decided that I couldn't purchase. So luckily for me, that vendor also happened to take crypto. So I just sidestepped the debit card, and
Mm-hmm. Went
I had
straight
to
there.
email them. I had to email them and say, "Hey, would you take crypto?" And they were like, "Yeah, no problem."
Yeah.
So
Well, and that's the thing about like wrapping things and is the DeFi thing. That's the big because no one's like buying things with stablecoins for the most part. It's like uh, it's all DeFi stuff. And so I wonder if you'll be able to do DeFi with CBDCs. Like for example, I wonder if you will be able to swap them for other assets on Thorchain. Probably not because first off, like to do the integration or whatever, I don't know if they would do that, but also you'd have to be able to just permissionlessly send something and it would go into a pool and the other asset would go out, and I don't think they would like that. So you'd probably have to wrap it in something and then trade that on Thorchain, for example. But like that's exactly it. Like if you could wrap it and issue tokens, it's an interesting world because CBDCs are just they're it's a completely new world because
yeah,
we go from the world of extremely permissioned financial stuff to a world of just anything goes because it's all code. And I actually think it's not like crypto's programmed to be super radical, man. It's just that you know how hard it is to program in those restrictions. It's easier to just say you sign the key, it sends, right? Instead of
right.
like, well, then there's central arbiter according to this and that, and just it's just going to be such a technical logistical nightmare to just block what it's being used for.
Sorry, the mail person is pulling up, and they left a note in my mailbox that said my mailbox has been blocked for 3 days, and
Hmm.
it's still blocked. And it's not me; it's the neighbor. The neighbor's got my mailbox blocked. I'm just seeing if she's putting the mail in the box. I think
Well,
she
that's
is.
nice. Well, in the meantime, we have a super chat. Oh, it actually just switched to the next one. Let me put this one down and actually just read out the other one because that was good. Hey, Joel and Spencer. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. Why do you
Thank you.
think Hillary Clinton is out there warning about crypto all of a sudden
Because she
from
doesn't
one time?
understand it.
Yeah. Now, why all of a sudden? Is it just that crypto's a big enough on the radar kind of a thing now that
I
it's like
think
might
so.
as well address it?
That's what I think. So here's the thing: it's like Hillary Clinton's been rich her whole life, so things that aren't worth a lot, they don't make her radar. Once her probably rich friends are now telling her, "Hey, maybe you should put some money in Bitcoin because now it's
Mm-hmm.
worth however much money." So to her now it's on her radar, and why she speaks out against it probably has to do with campaign funding, her financial ties, as well as she just doesn't understand it. And
Mm-hmm.
I Hillary Clinton is, at least by me and probably many others, never really been well liked. Um, you know, for me, it started when I was a kid, and Bill Clinton was the president when she came out and went after Monica Lewinsky rather than just being silent. Like she literally attacked that woman, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Damn, this lady's fucking ruthless, man." And
Yep.
then when she ran for president twice and didn't get in, I don't know why she was even why she even attempted it again. Like, look, we don't like you, lady. Clearly,
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, not to get too political in the whole thing, but crypto's about transcending this sort of thing. And
yeah,
I honestly do not believe. I mean, I don't really care what she's like as a person, but what I have noticed is she's extremely well aligned as a person. She's very like her points of view, what she says, what she supports, what she's not against is extremely bought and paid for by everyone in a certain extent. And
Yeah.
so she represents the old system, at least the part like the first world old system kind of thing. And basically I believe she represents all the bad parts of like the old system. Of course there's worse people out there like dictators and countries with no rights or fewer rights than in the US, for example. But as far as what we're concerned, our world, Western Europe, Japan, all those kinds of places, it's like basically it's a great litmus test. Whatever she likes, do the opposite of. And
Right.
and so
Yeah.
like
She's the person that I trust with absolutely nothing.
yeah, and so that's a good thing about I think the fact that she's speaking out against crypto today is a great sign that it's prime time. It's like it's two things. First off, it's in the big time because that old boomer's not going to talk about anything that's like new. They're going to talk about stuff that's like established or starting to become established. And then the second thing, I believe her when she says it's going to destabilize a lot of things. And it's like, yeah, it'll just destabilize your friends and old power structures, and they just won't have the money to keep on doing this kind of thing. So I absolutely, I absolutely agree on that part. Now, we had another super chat. Let me crank this one open. Does Spencer think that we should have a stablecoin functionality in our Dash wallets for merchant adoption in Latin America, especially since physical USD is preferred over crypto in places like Venezuela? And let me add a little anecdotal thing to that. Bitrefills recently, like last several months, added a Tron USD stablecoin as a payment option, and they've been getting significant volumes on that. Like, 10-15% of all their sales are through that or something crazy like that
So
because of Latin
that's a
America.
great question, and
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about it. So I
Mm-hmm.
think if you're going to use a stable coin in connection with Dash, I don't think it should be built into our
Mm-hmm.
core wallet or core mobile wallet. Um, if that's something you're going to do, you're going to have to build it on Dash. So first, we're going to have to get platform out and figure out how that's going to be done with data contracts. That's going to be the first thing. If you can figure that out, I would probably, me personally, prefer a purpose-built wallet that just has
Mm-hmm.
Dash USD or whatever you want to call it as the option. Not that I don't want people to use Dash, but I'm just a fan of very simple user interfaces. You guys, if you ever follow me on Reddit or Twitter, I'm always talking about how I don't think things are simple enough, and that doesn't mean that it's confusing for me, but I see it from a different lens for other people, and uh, I would just have one currency in the wallet, not two, and so if that's something that people want and it would really make a difference in them using a blockchain or not, then I think that could be a cool idea for merchant adoption and stuff. But as far as um, building it into the core wallet and having it side by side with Dash, I think it just starts to get too complex at that point. And you know, building it into the core wallet, I think, is a no because I don't think that everybody wants that functionality necessarily. And those that do can just run two apps. It's not that big of a deal. That's like how I feel about Bitcoin Cash or what is Bitcoin.com wallet. I caught a bunch of flack on their Reddit a while back for saying
Mm-hmm.
that I think it's ridiculous to have Ethereum in their wallet and a Bitcoin Core thing in their wallet. Like if I download a Bitcoin Cash wallet, that's what I want is a Bitcoin Cash wallet. Like
Yeah, that's a
I know people
separate.
that like multi-coin. I know people that like multi-coin wallets. I personally like unless it has other purpose, I don't like multi-coin wallets because they don't ever accentuate the things that are great about that coin because coins are always doing their own things, right? They're always for a long time Dash instant send was a feature that had to be implemented by
Mm-hmm.
the wallet, okay? And even now it has to at least be recognized. So if you're using a multi-coin wallet, chances are back then that it didn't have instant send capability, and so I would rather just use the purpose-built wallet for Dash for that reason. And other coins have similar features as well that you just don't get access to in a multi-coin scenario usually.
Yeah. So there's two kinds of topics there. One is stable coins for merchants, specifically Latin America based, and the other is what should a wallet have? And those are two great concepts. The first one, so it's kind of like it. I would say Latin America only, but it's more of a Latin American phenomenon. No one is trying to spend stable coins in the U.S. because they can already just use whatever payment app or card they have and it works.
Yeah,
And
Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. There are stores in my town that have like a QR code up front, and you scan it and pay with Cash
yeah,
App.
so we got this in the US, we got a lot of payments, fiat payments, and then we got crypto where people want to own crypto and eventually they'll want to spend it, right? And it's these two big things. And in from my gut feeling slash, what I've observed a little bit, we got three in say Latin America or developing countries. One is the fiat world that they have. Two is the payment app world where they want to be able to use their fiat easier. And then the third is crypto. And so you will have people in Latin America buying crypto, for example. But the thing is, crypto's also taking over this fiat Venmo kind of thing because of all the barriers behind using the technology. The banking technology is not necessarily all there. There's like delays on stuff. I remember talking to people about how in Colombia, it takes forever for a bank to recognize a deposit, and there's a big fee on it and all that nonsense. And so people
Oh
are
yeah.
using crypto to shuffle around their fiat, to actually spend it and use it. And then it's also crypto. So the merchant stablecoin feature, in my humble opinion, it's kind of a bygone of a lost era. It's kind of like a temporary thing. It's not really going
Right.
to be there forever. It's not worth
It's like the
building.
headphone jack
Yeah.
on phones, right? Like people still want the headphone jack, but the rest of the industry
Hmm.
is like, look, let's just drop it and move on. I know it's not easy right now. There's going to be a transition period, but everything's going to Bluetooth.
Yeah.
And the rest of the world was like, oh, no, that
Bluetooth.
sucks when it first happened. But then since it was kind of forced on us now, like I was of the opinion that it was stupid to get rid of the headphone jack.
Hmm.
I didn't think we were ready. But now when I look at stuff, I have a phone, which I purposely bought with a headphone
Hmm.
jack,
You never use
and
it.
I never use it. Now I'm at the point that my car has Bluetooth. I have wireless headphones that have Bluetooth. I got Bluetooth speakers in my house. So
Hmm.
I never use it. I'm still glad that I have it because I just didn't want to be in that awkward transition period where I didn't have the option. But by removing it off the most popular phones, iPhone, newest Samsung phones, by removing it, it essentially forced the rest of the industry to get on board and figure that out. Like
Hmm.
I remember a time when Bluetooth really sucked. Like pairing devices was a pain in the ass, and type this pin and does it match the pin on your phone? And oh, I lost connection. What happened? And then now it's like I get in the car. Not only does it automatically connect, whatever song is on just starts playing. I don't like have to get out my
Yeah.
phone and turn on the music. Like it's really great. And I mean, crypto's going through I think a very similar um, user
Phase.
interface or user experience like phase. Yeah, it's
It's
kind of like
crypt.
should we just force
Yeah.
this stuff and kind of like if we can get rid of the complex shit, make it easier, but at the same time force the change.
Hmm.
Like I know people that I've talked to about crypto that say they don't understand the idea of a digital wallet. Like I don't get it. What does that mean? And it's like
Now
I
everyone
don't
has
really think
something
it's
like
that
that.
complicated of a concept, but at the same time, you kind of just force that in society. Like, okay, now you can pay with your phone. You can tap your phone on the thing. Like I have a
Hmm.
Fitbit watch. Oh, I don't know where it is. It's charging. Anyway, it has a payment app, and I forgot my phone and my wallet the other day because I was at the gym and I had sweatpants on. And I go to the gas station to buy a protein shake, and I was like, oh shit, I got my watch. So I pressed the payment button, tapped my watch on the terminal, and I was good to go. It's like
Hmm.
as you start forcing these experiences, people get more and more used to it, and I don't think that at some point you're not going to need that stablecoin payment option. I mean, and the idea of crypto always was to absorb most of the value anyway, and at some point it becomes stable, right? Like
Hmm.
the larger it is, the harder it is to shift that price.
Yeah. And the other thing people, I mean, I think that we're starting to see, um, first off, no merchant cares to get a stable coin in the US in the first world, I would think, because they would just say, "Now let's take fiat." Okay, if they're going to take crypto, they're probably going to just take it and convert to fiat right away, something like that. And so this to mess around with this stable coin, it's like, well, it's your value is locked in, but it's not. You can't use that in your bank. You have to do another. Like, no, they're not going to do that at all. Just absolutely not. And so I think we're moving to the point where almost any merchant will be willing to take crypto if they can convert to fiat. And very soon, I think we're moving to a spot where a lot of merchants will take crypto and don't care about converting to fiat because the amount of people buying crypto as a hedge against inflation as whatever else is insane right now. And it's only going to go up. So the thing is, people seem to come from this like single currency kind of mindset. So like, I mean, I grew up on the US Mexico border, and every day, if you go into the average shop in the US, 80% of them were like dollars only. And then there's like 20% that would take Mexican pesos in the US side.
Right.
But then you
It's
go
like
to
that on
Mexico.
up in Washington, like in Canada.
Yeah.
You can go up there and pay with Canadian dollars or American dollars, like right across the border. And normally it's because the US dollar is worth more,
Mm-hmm.
but they still charge you the Canadian dollar rate. Like if it's $5 Canadian and you're like, oh, I've got American dollars. They're like, we'll take $5 American. They don't do the
As a
exchange rate for
convenience
you. They're
thing.
just like, yeah,
Yeah. And in Mexico, the north of Mexico, at least, last time I was around there spending money, uh, almost every place, like well, I would say almost, but the majority for sure would take US dollars as well. They might screw you on an exchange rate or something, but they would like a 5% off or something like that. But they would all take it. And like almost anyone, if you start to get like too far into the south of the state and then obviously further south in the country, then you would not really find a lot of dollar acceptance as much. But it's pretty widespread there. So I do foresee a world in our near future where merchants will take fiat or crypto. They won't be messing around with stable coins though. They'll just say like, all right, well, I want to get paid in Bitcoin. I want to get paid in Ethereum. I want to get paid in whatever else that they can take. Solana. I don't know if people can use that as money, but whatever.
I think it'll be even less friction than that. I think
Mm-hmm.
that at some point, maybe even Visa, it could be anybody, but some payment company is going to come along and develop a payment terminal that the business themselves can decide which currency that they want to receive. And
Mm-hmm.
then the customer can pay with whatever, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Dash, dollars, pesos. And then at some point, whoever that company is will handle that conversion and just pay the merchant in whatever it is that they want.
Yeah. Now, this is a little bit of a kind of an almost a little bit of an off topic thing like that, right? Uh, Imagine if every single payment processor, like every single point of sale, major point of sale company, had an integrated Thor swap thing in there where they could
Yeah.
just, as soon as you get paid, it would throw into their liquidity pool and come out whatever else they wanted. And if these payment processor companies had significant liquidity that they were providing for it, so no, it would all kind of like they kind of like eat their own fees, right? They kind of pay themselves to do the swap and
Right.
stuff. That would get kind of cool. But yeah, I do think that you will see that, and I think that as soon as people get comfortable using crypto in more developing countries, this whole well, let me try a stablecoin thing is just going to go away. But it is a fun like experiment in the meantime where you have like Tron USD, people are like living off of that stuff, and it's like, woo, this is interesting. Like, and the other thing, by the way, I don't think that uh, what do they call it? I don't think that all stable coins created equal is going to be a thing in the future. Like BUSD, right? It's like, is that worth what a USD is worth? I don't know. Like, I don't know how Binance does their thing. Is Tether worth what a USD is worth? Well,
Mm-mm.
absolutely not, except for the utility of Tether for some people is much higher than USD, so maybe it balances out. But like unstable stable coins is going to be an interesting kind of thing to see.
I mean, still an experiment. You know what I mean? And I think as far as stable coins go, I mean, I think that they have a use. Um, and I utilize them every once in a while when I just want to pull money out and wait and then put it back in without having to transfer to and from the bank account.
Mm,
When I do, uh, I use USDC usually,
yeah.
um, but I normally don't do anything with it. I just transfer from crypto back and vice versa, because USDC is um, built on Ethereum and using it's fucking expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they do have now USDC on Stellar, which I think is way way cheaper, but it's not a cohesive ecosystem yet, so it starts to get confusing. When you have USDC, you don't know which one you have necessarily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be um obviously cross chain is the way of the future. But it'll be interesting is um so when people invest today, as far as I know, because I'm not a big fiat guy, obviously. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not a big fiat guy. But people invest almost only in fiat, as far as I know. It's like fiat denominated 401k, fiat, and then they have stocks, right? They invest in variations of fiat and then companies. And so in the future, probably people will have a basket of cryptos that they use because cryptos are either like stocks or like currencies, and depending on your what you think. But imagine this, like the a like a trade balancing strategy where let's just say you have half your value in Bitcoin, half your value in Dash, let's just say, and then like Bitcoin pumps a bunch, and then you end up rebalancing it, like selling some Bitcoin for Dash, so it's back here. I think that what you might have is like an auto merchant balancing strategy where people will say, where people get paid in whatever. Like, let's just say someone wants to just pay some merchant in only Tron USD for some reason, and that's not something that they want, or they only want like some amount of that of a stable coin, and they want most of it in other stuff. And so if they get overpaid like every week or so, then it automatically sells and balances. So their balance sheet is balanced between these several different assets, which of course would be a little more complicated than just using one, but an auto balancing mechanism like via like liquidity pools, kind of the way Thorchain balances out. That would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think Thorchain is super awesome.
Mm-hmm. It's super
Sorry, I'm messing
buggy.
around in chat now.
Yeah, super buggy, but yeah, I mean, we'll
Super
get there.
buggy, but what isn't right now? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's a methodology that they're going with, um,
Mm-hmm.
which I appreciate for development, and I appreciate it to a point, and then I think it's got to stabilize. But it's that move fast and break things kind of development, and I can appreciate that to a point. Like I said, then it's got
Mm-hmm.
to stabilize. But
Yeah, that is
yeah,
something that I think is interesting. Is um, like the move fast break things strategy puts pressure onto you to deliver quicker because it's not like testnet where testnet can be broken forever, and then
right.
you don't have to actually pay for your mistakes. You just keep building it until it's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. Yay, it's ready, kind of. But like if your testnet is mainnet and people have money on it and they lose money when it breaks and they get mad at you and you're sweating all the time and you're well, I'm just sweating all the time anyway. I'm a sweaty man, but that's a different story. But like when you have that kind of situation, you got to fix it quick, and that's something that I've noticed with with Thorchain. So there's some friend of mine divested from Thorchain. He's like, dude, this is not worth it. It's buggy. It's broken. It sucks. And yeah, I agree with all those things, and I think that that's definitely a cause for uh, a cause for pause. However, then what I was asking is, what's your favorite like cross chain exchange platform that's not Thorchain? And just to
That's
see if
not
I'd
Thorchain.
yeah, and that as just to see if I'd missed out on something. It's like there isn't really one right now. It's like
I mean, cross
what,
chain, Ren. I mean,
but that's wrapped though.
yeah, yeah, you're right. There is nothing besides Thorchain that's natively cross chain,
And that's
decentralized.
that's kind of my point. On that was kind of I wasn't making a point in asking you. I just really wanted to know. But like, that makes me so much more patient with bugs. Is this is something that everyone needs at some point? Everyone's going to need this, and it doesn't exist yet, except here. And you can use it. It's not just it works great on testnet. There's some bugs. It's like no, it's been on chaosnet, like mainnet testnet. People have swapped real assets for each other on the platform, and they continue to do so when it's not bugging out and stuff. Uh, and yeah, I mean, why not be in that until there's something better? I mean, it doesn't mean you need to be a big investor or anything, but I'm just saying, why not like focus on that until there's something better? Just like like for example, spending crypto, which people just kind of gave up on. Like, there's a lot of wallets and things out there like, no, this works well, but it's all speculative DeFi type stuff these days. No one's really trying to spend it, and there's some cases where you are. I think the Lightning Network was a an excuse for a lot of people to get back into the mood of like trying to spend this stuff. But for the most part, most like Lightning based things that are being pushed for popularity aren't really too Lightning based. They're just kind of like centralized custodial solutions, and they're just
Right. That's
like a
like
go
the
between.
Twitter tip thing, right? They keep saying, "Oh, it's lightning
Uh
tip."
huh.
And it's like, no, it ain't going to be that. They're going to have one big wallet and they're going to shuffle around IOUs like exchanges do. And then when you want to cash out, it'll be a lightning
Mm-hmm.
transaction out, probably.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty crazy to see just the way the space has kind of developed, because a lot of these services, like let's just say Strike, and let's just say Chivo,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. It's kind of funny
What
that
does
like
Chivo
Strike,
mean again? Goat.
yeah, which it's funny because
They wanted it to be like the goat, like the greatest of all time, right? The goat, but they don't understand that slang there.
yeah, well, you know what's funny? Let me just hit that on it. So Chivo is the government issued wallet provider for the country of El Salvador for Bitcoin. And it's super buggy, and people have had a lot of payments go missing. Like, I pay to your Chivo account, it goes on either a Lightning channel or on chain. It goes in there, and then they just never recognize it, or the other way around. There's some interesting stories. In fact, I'm about to put out a podcast with Mark Falzon, who went down and a journalist and recorded all this stuff in El Salvador and really, you know, knows how it works on the ground. So that's a different thing. But the Chivo, so I think Chivo is meant to be a play on Chido, which is like cool. It's like, oh yeah, it's cool. It's Chido.
Oh,
But they call it, Chivo instead. Although the thing which means goat, the funny thing about that is it's also an expression, at least in Mexican Spanish, for cheating on someone. If you do them the goat, you goat
oh,
them. That
I
means you're
didn't
like
know that.
cheating on them. And so it's a funny, in my view, it's a funny double entendre that you're cheating on someone, but you're saying like, no, this is Bitcoin, but it's not really, and it's kind of like a cheat. So it's kind of a mess. But those kinds of things, are pretty interesting because they're apps that let people kind of spend their Bitcoin. Strike is centralized custodial, whatever, and not really Lightning until it goes out. I mean, they have a Lightning channel in and out, I'm sure, but it's not really. They have a card that lets you like swipey, and like, why haven't people just leaned into centralized solutions instead of waiting for Lightning to be semi-workable and then realize they're not going to use Lightning and then just go to that? Why'd they have to wait for that? The technology for a centralized solution was there forever.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've been trying to use Lightning lately, not on purpose. I mean,
Yeah.
on
I
purpose, but not. Uh, I I got it just to
yeah.
experiment. I thought, okay, let's see if it's come far at all, and it's farther as far as
Mm-hmm.
adoption goes. And I like the Node software, but
Mm-hmm.
it really
Like
doesn't.
Umbrel, using Umbrel.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
cool.
it's cool. I shut down my
It's
node.
I
It
mean,
was
it's nice and easy to set up, but it doesn't. It's not really that useful,
mm-hmm.
and still a pain in the ass. So
Well, let us actually start wrapping this thing up so you can go heat up your salmon and
Oh
actually
yeah, I
eat.
need to
Because
eat
I'm
some
sorry,
food.
I always screw up your timing on your lunch and stuff. But anyway, any last any last questions for Spencer? Please ask them in the regular chat, and then you can donate on the super chat just so it goes through in time because there's a delay on the super chat. And people are talking about hex and stuff. That's kind of funny. But anyway,
Heck.
as I mentioned before, go on my Instagram and TikTok, digital_cash_network. You find those like short form videos and stuff, for those kinds of purposes. Now, you also can do it via YouTube Shorts because YouTube's trying to get into the Shorts video format too. It's on Odysee too, but Odysee doesn't have a specific category for that. And of course, I put them out on Twitter and Facebook
Didn't
just like that.
didn't like Vine pioneer the short video app, and then they couldn't get enough people to use it, and then all of a sudden TikTok came along, and it's like the same thing.
Yes. So the thing is, so Vine was successful, but it wasn't. It didn't last. The problem with Vine is like people are figuring it out, right? YouTube used to be just like anything, and then YouTube got into, he was like you can do 7-second videos on YouTube, 5-second, or you could do 30 seconds. Or the magic number was like 3.5 minutes. It was like good, and then YouTube decided to monetize everything too much, and they realized that you can't really like put ads
Show
on
an
videos
ad on a
unless
yeah.
yeah. So that's why they really started leaning into longer form content like 9, 10, 12 minutes. Like over 10 minutes especially is for monetization. It really helps your video do better. And they started prioritizing view time. Not just how many views you get, but view time. Like if it's a 3-hour podcast, if like 100 people watch the whole thing, that's better than like several thousand watching your 5-minute thing. And then basically they started telling people what they should want rather than giving them what they want. And then that pushed people in the direction of short form stuff. And so Vine unfortunately went too aggressive with that. It was 7-second limit, I think
I
it was.
remember that. Yeah,
It was just
7 seconds.
and Vine content was just like such crap because I mean it was entertaining, but it was just so squished in, just like over. I'm like, this sucks. Roster brain
Yeah.
more than TikTok, and then TikTok kind of found the right amount because they were doing I think it was like 30 seconds or a minute long limit, and now they have like 4 minute plus that you can do them really long. But usually what works is like a short, like 20 to 40 type seconds. And after that, then Instagram introduced Reels. They're like short form little video thingy. And then YouTube introduced Shorts, which are the short form stuff. So that's kind of all where it is. And they're throwing a lot of money behind that. But that's a nice little.
Everyone does it now. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. They're all doing short videos now.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let me wrap this thing up. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Throw me a little thingy on Cointree. If you like long audio form podcast stuff, I'm on Anchor, which also syndicates out to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pandora. It's all on all those kinds of things. So you want to go do that, you could do that. You might be me listening on there, but it would not be live. And then obviously I lean heavily into Odysee because Odysee is, based on blockchain and all that cool stuff. But yeah, follow on Instagram, TikTok if you want to, do that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's pretty good. Where do you want people to follow you or your work, Spencer?
I mean, most of my work is done on GitHub, I guess, but it's also mostly done in private repositories. So follow me on Twitter, I guess.
Yeah, Codex Dev
Yeah,
with a
at
K.
Codex Dev.
So KODAX, or is it two X's?
2 X's.
KODA, like Coda double X. Coda double X DEV. Codex
Yep.
Dev.
Codex
Yeah.
Dev.
And
Yeah,
it looks like him, but he doesn't have that wonderful baby face going on. He's got a little bit of that grizzly mountain man look in that thing. So
did have a beard there in that picture. I'm going to
Yeah.
continue to use that picture.
yeah, it's a good picture. Looks nice.
Well,
All right,
it's not
let's
even
wrap.
that it's the best picture of me. It's just the one that I use. So it's it's me.
Kind of like mine too, my little black and white one. Anyway, let's wrap this thing up. Thanks very much for being on, Spencer. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a fantastic weekend. We will see you next week for another episode of Digital Cash Rundown. I believe Paul Play from Edge is going to be on. He's always a cool dude. And then there's going to be the Dash podcast with yet to be named guests. I have some cool ideas though. But anyway, yeah, see you guys around.